Today, I'll be reacting to a video titled, I Played the Most Ridiculous Card Game by Raran. And this is something that is very interesting to me because as somebody who tries to go get people outside the Yu-Gi-Oh bubble to get into the game, I'm always open and I'm always interested to see the perspectives of people who want to get into the game of Yu-Gi-Oh. Too often, a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players, and we see even through content creators, a lot of them happen to be looking at Yu-Gi-Oh through the lens as somebody who constantly and only plays the game or is inside the bubble. Like a lot of us Yu-Gi-Oh players talk about stuff like the meme about Joel or Ray Sky Striker, what age she is, and Ash Blossom's feet and Maxi, when the truth is around 99% of people out there in the world don't care about stuff like that. They really don't. But if they want to get into Yu-Gi-Oh, memes and jokes that are known within the community don't relate or matter at all to them. And so I'm always interested to see how people outside the bubble that we ourselves kind of put ourselves into, how they look into the game and what their perspectives are on the game. Because I always keep saying this, in order for people to get into anything, whether it be a fighting game or a sport, you need to take yourself out of that bubble so you can get them to be more situated into trying to understand the basics and fundamentals of something. So then they can take the time and enjoy the game. So let's go at it right now. From Raran, I played the most ridiculous card game. Let's go.
I'm gonna play this game for 10 hours and I'm gonna do this to showcase to all of you how ridiculous this game ends up being. I have played this game previously for 3 hours and I went back to look at the footage and I couldn't tell you what the hell was happening. As someone who has barely played Yu-Gi-Oh, the game has always kind of scared me. It's not your typical card game. In fact, it's the most different out of all of them that I have played. The biggest difference being there's not really a mana resource system. You can kind of just play cards if your cards allow you to. And not to mention how long some of the card text actually is.
True, I will say this right now. There really is no game out there like Yu-Gi-Oh. There is nothing out there because there are some, because a buddy of mine's does nothing but plays card games and board games pretty much every single day, and there's always elements of something from another game applying to another. For Hearthstone, you can apply games from other stuff, even something like the My Hero Academia game, or even the card collecting game, or even the One Piece game. There are semblances or aspects of all of them that connect to one another, to which you can make the transition fairly easy. Yu-Gi-Oh is its own thing. It's its own wild beast that we take for granted for being really basic and easy in terms of once we understand the fundamentals within the bubble, but that information is insane and crazy to anybody outside the bubble. It really is. For instance, we take for granted how very basic it is of the phases, or what does it mean to tribute summon, or what does it mean to do piercing battle damage. In my personal experience, when I try to teach somebody how to play the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, those things are insanely confusing and pretty gosh darn ridiculous, and it takes time for them to try to memorize or to try to reallocate that new piece of information in their brains on top of everything else that's happening in their own respective lives here. Yes, people who play card games have their own lives. I understand we like seeing people who only play this game for pretty much a living, but new people who are trying to get into Yu-Gi-Oh have a big piece of time, chunk of time that they can use to learn something. And if Yu-Gi-Oh requires you to take in more chunk of that time out of your already busy schedule, whether it be you working at a school, working your job, or taking care of a family, or taking care of other activities or events happening around your local area. Like for me, I'm very participating in my church and in my local areas. I have a lot of time dedicated to that. And so when I do play Yu-Gi-Oh, thank goodness I know the basics of Yu-Gi-Oh to the point where I can go play Yu-Gi-Oh and not be all that completely confused.
From an outsider's perspective, Yu-Gi-Oh seems like the most ridiculous card game that exists.
Because it is ridiculous.
How ridiculous Yu-Gi-Oh is. So I decided to play Yu-Gi-Oh for 10 hours. And here is what I found out. Chat, is there a video you guys would recommend on how to play Yu-Gi-Oh? Because I have played...
Yes, my report card series. You should watch it. Seriously.
Played Yu-Gi-Oh before. The first couple hours were basically me relearning the game. And I thought I would remember a lot of it, but honestly, I didn't remember really anything. Guy has 1800 attack, but no defense. That's fine. Opponent is about to end her turn. What? Made the top 5 cards of your deck and you can add an activated spell trap to your hand. Also, okay, I don't know what excavate means. What is happening?
Yeah. See, this right here. To us Yu-Gi-Oh players, that is basic, fundamental, normal information. but to outsiders, this is incredibly confusing. And you can explain somebody what excavating means, or what piercing battle damage means, or what the end turn and men phase 2 means, like attack defense stats. You can explain people that within the matter of seconds. But for them to truly grasp that, to maintain that information through multiple games throughout your period of learning Yu-Gi-Oh!, it requires a lot of time. Heck, it took like my buddy to understand tribute summoning, consistently, and being able to like explain what tribute summoning is in his own words after about 2 hours of gameplay. Even though it took me like 25 seconds to explain him tribute summoning. A lot of people learn in different ways and different times, and stuff like this, like excavating, is very, 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 very simple and easy for us, but super confusing to a lot of new players.
In the hopes you won't be as lost as I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh!, here are a couple important things to know. Yu-Gi-Oh! Uses different card types like monsters, spells, and traps, and they all go in a specific zone on the board. You can normal summon a monster if its level is 4 or lower, but for higher level monsters, you could tribute summon by sending other monsters to the graveyard, or you could use special methods that we'll see later in this video. The objective of the game is to reduce your opponent's life points to 0 and send them to the shadow.
Correct.
But I can't emphasize this enough. This game is extremely complicated.
Okay, so everything he just explained right then and there, dude, how long did it take? Around 20 seconds to explain? Okay, so that took 20 seconds to explain. Now, being able to go through an entire game, or going through turns and formulating your deck, and going through that process of depleting your opponent's life points from 8,000 to 0, there's a lot in between there that happens. So yes, it is easy to explain somebody a concept or what the point is or how to go win a game, but to get to that point and being able to do it consistently, while also learning other people's decks, while also learning your own deck, while also learning your own deck strategies, other people's strategies, and how to exactly do it, while also maintain that information of how to do it. Yeah, there's a lot that goes in between. Explaining the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! To me is very, very, very easy. Deplete your opponent's life points from 8,000 to 0. Through using monsters, through using spells, through using traps. Very easy. Now, getting to that point though, now it becomes complicated.
A ton more stuff that I didn't mention.
Am I dumb because I play Hearthstone, or is this game too complicated? I am still hella confused.
This game is complicated, don't worry about it. For the majority of the first hour, I spent a lot of my time in the solo mode because I wanted to learn the game at a good enough level where I felt comfortable going against real players. And the solo mode seemed easy enough. I was winning basically everything that I did, so I felt very confident going into my first casual match. All right, let's find a casual match. Let's see how this goes.
Oh no, you don't go to casual matches. You don't go to casual matches. You don't. People who play casual games, more often than not, even in real life, are playing the worst gimmicky stuff ever. Like legitimately, that's one of the hard things about Yu-Gi-Oh! It's the fact that you cannot get into this game and be thrust into playing with other newbies. Now you can argue there are a bunch of bad newbies out there in Yu-Gi-Oh! Masterduels who are gold, silver, bronze, and like beginner ranks. Yes, but within those levels, there are still a bunch of really darn good people who are way more experienced than you, and playing in a casual setting where you can potentially play against any type of level player out there. Yeah, that is not good. If you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Masterduels and you want to play casually, you're better off playing the rank modes, because if you're playing against people who play casually in Yu-Gi-Oh! Are often the worst people out there, because they're playing these gimmicky, very terrible decks that are just done to make sure that you don't get to play.
Chat, do I want to go first or second? I'm gonna go second.
Just stick to rank.
First always. Okay. All right, this is my moment to shine. Normal special summon, you can.
Because people don't play casual unless they're already experienced enough and they know certain things.
No need. I'm about the game.
We're playing Dragon Mage though, which is really solid. Okay.
He's gonna explode by turn 4.
Yep.
Pray for him.
Yep. That's the boy. That's the kid. All right, then we do that, and then we do that. For the record, I have no idea what I am doing, but that looked really good. Sure, yep, that looks good. Yep, okay, cool. And then we're gonna go to the end phase. I'm literally going against Yu-Gi-Oh! Chat. They really put me against the best. Game 1. What happens now? What is that? Both players can normal summon.
Oh, ancient gear.
For one less.
Okay. Your opponent probably bricked there.
The game's over. Now, some of you might be a little bit confused on what just happened, and don't worry, it doesn't get any easier. You're gonna be just as confused as I was playing it. It worked out, so we'll do it again.
You see, I was not confused at all in what was happening in the game. Really, your opponent probably just braked or something that's happened and they lost connection, or I don't know, or their mom called them up, or their partner called them up and they had to turn off the game there. But really, for the most part, if that scenario happened multiple times over, his opponent would have won playing Ancient Gears. And Ancient Gears is not a good deck at all.
Okay. Oh god, he's got an anime girl. Oh my god, look at the board. Yes. I don't know what's happening, but I'm doing stuff. Oh yeah? Okay. Face up, easy. Oh my.
You inspired me to play Mecrogue yesterday, made it to plat for the first time ever, thanks, went 31-10 lol.
Dude, no problem. Did I do anything good there? I'm assuming my play was excellent. Oh my god. I think I'm about to get cooked. Where's my cards? Where's his cards going? Oh god, what is he doing? Oh shit! I can't even read fast enough. What do you do? When your opponent activates a card effect you control, you can trigger one monster. Okay. Oh my god, what is going on? Oh, what's this? Oh, it's not about that. You can turn this card in your hand, and if you do, special summon them. Oh! You thought! What just happened? What just how do I get me out? Yes.
Okay, so here's the funny part here. This is what's very interesting to me. What happened in that duel was a very, 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 very basic interaction. But once again, us players in the Yu-Gi-Oh bubble, what we find very basic is incredibly complicated for other people then. But I can tell you right now, if there was like levels to this, where like level 10 is like YCS pro level and level 5 is like somebody who's like in between like MBT, what the level of gameplay that we're seeing right here out of 10 would probably be around maybe a 2. I say it's about a 2 or 3. So once again, while this is confusing for other people, this is very low level tier stuff for us then, and maybe that's an issue with Yu-Gi-Oh here. I think this game right here was very fair, was very balanced. Nothing really was nothing unfair or crazy was happening in this duel. And honestly, he could have won this. He really could have won this. He really could have. But yeah, this, I genuinely do believe this. Because Yu-Gi-Oh is a game about instant gratification. Where I'm saying people generally want to play games about instant gratification, and Yu-Gi-Oh does its best to make sure you don't get to that point. You need to go through moments like these in order for you to better yourself. It requires a lot of time commitments. Yu-Gi-Oh requires you to commit time, and through you seeing this screen of you losing, like you need this defeat screen. You need to see this over and over and over and over again, because through seeing defeats, you can go and better yourself and become a better duelist. And as you make the effort into being a better duelist, you will find the fun in the game here. You 100% will not have any fun playing Yu-Gi-Oh within your first like 2 hours. And that sounds terrible, I know, right? That sounds pretty gosh darn terrible. But once you get over a certain level or limit as to what you can do in Yu-Gi-Oh, and you begin to recognize and see what you can potentially do in Yu-Gi-Oh, whether it be the combos or the deck building or how you analyze and see the game, you will not enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh at first. Almost no one ever does enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh at first. But if you persevere through this, and trust me, you don't have to persevere through this. You can pick up any other game. You will find the enjoyment of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Pay attention. So this is where you get your first real glimpse of how ridiculous Yu-Gi-Oh can be. I played all of those cards on my first turn. Let me show you what a typical turn 1 game of Hearthstone looks like.
Yeah.
And in case you're curious, this is what Runeterra looks like. Now, if you're very curious to see how pro Yu-Gi-Oh is played, Masterduel has a very nice feature which allows you to spectate games. Let me show you what a pro level Yu-Gi-Oh game looks like. To someone who does not play Yu-Gi-Oh, this is gonna be one of the most ridiculous things you've ever seen in a card game. Unfortunately, I had to speed up the footage because if I let it go, this player's turn took exactly 3 minutes and basically won the game from turn 1, and their opponent just had to sit and watch. And that is the most insane thing about Yu-Gi-Oh is that going first basically wins you the game based on your opening hand.
Oh yeah, that's a fact. That's been like that for about, at this point here, since the TCG. Well, it's been going on for about 20 years at this point. Yeah, even back to the ye old days. Back when, like Kaiba and like Yugi, the original DM era, like around GOAT format around 2005, which was about 18 years ago from now, which is considered like the best old school format in Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah, it kind of has always been kind of like this for the longest time. Now it's gotten more and more ridiculous. The skill ceiling for Yu-Gi-Oh has gone higher, while the floor has not moved at all. So yeah, that is an issue in Yu-Gi-Oh that I think should definitely be addressed, where there should be like a raising in the floor for players to be able to compete. Now that's my personal theory. I would love to see like different levels to which a person can go play Yu-Gi-Oh in a competitive setting. Like, here's level 1 duelist playing, here's level 2 duelist playing, here's level 3 duelist playing. That's something that I would personally want to see. And then if you play against certain duels and beat certain duels in certain levels, that you can move yourself up. I think that's a great way for duelists to be able to slowly make the climb into being at a certain level once they compete at a regional or a YCS. But once again, that requires a lot of time commitment, and people are very, very busy with their lives. I understand it.
And on top of that, this is the world championship for Yu-Gi-Oh! How insane is it that you work so hard to get to this point just to lose the game without actually playing the game? Maybe
yeah.
From an outsider's perspective, or someone just looking into this game, like, Jesus Christ. Like, what? I can pause it, but I don't think that's going to help. You use a patterns game, you learn the combo pattern, you understand the deck. It's just how the game is. Let me pause this shit. Let me get paid out. Okay. And I know some of you are going to be like, I'm coping, but here's the thing. The learning curve in Hearthstone is like...
Yes, this is it. The skill ceiling of Yu-Gi-Oh raises every single day or every single month. Yet the floor for Yu-Gi-Oh maintains and is the same. There is such a hard learning curve for the game of Yu-Gi-Oh that it is nearly impossible. There have been players who have done it, but that requires people who have the ability to commit to the time and love this stuff. If you're like, I'm going to go to Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm going to play for like a couple minutes or an hour, I'm going to have fun and dip out, this game is not for you. It really isn't. You should go into Yu-Gi-Oh being like, I'm going to go into Yu-Gi-Oh and I'll spend X amount of time to it. Then I'll spend X amount of time of again later this week. And I'll spend more time with it again next week. And then it takes months. I think Farfa said it himself, where it was like, you need to spend months playing Yu-Gi-Oh to understand Yu-Gi-Oh. You can explain Yu-Gi-Oh in a matter of seconds and even minutes, but to really understand, really to get Yu-Gi-Oh and get used to how things are, it requires months. Heck, sometimes even a year.
Something like that. Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like...
Yeah.
So I don't know how people get past this line. No offense, but H is a joke.
Through time commitment. It took me 9 months to compete in my first regional event. 9 months. It took me 9 months to be comfortable with my deck and with my own skill level to be able to compete. And that's me as somebody who actually did play Yu-Gi-Oh as a little kid. So if it took me 9 months to, and also I've also read people where like, well, a person played Yu-Gi-Oh for about 3 months and then they're able to compete at a regional event. Good for them. But once again, everybody learns at a different level. And if everybody can learn Yu-Gi-Oh and compete within 1 or 3 months time, then we wouldn't be having an issue right now. That is players trying to get into Yu-Gi-Oh and mildly struggling.
The biggest Yu-Gi-Oh fan on the planet. I'm not saying Yu-Gi-Oh is a worse game than Hearthstone, but purely as trying to get into the game, and this is coming from someone who's played multiple card games, this game's fucking hard, dude.
Yes, it is.
You can get Blue Eyes White Dragon on the side of your board, which is really cool. And with the help of my new dragon, I basically spent the majority of the second hour still learning the exact same deck until I felt confident enough to pick a brand new one. Which one is the easiest one to understand the game with? Okay, which one should I buy? Burning Spirits. All right, most of you are saying Burning Spirits. Oh my god, this is easy. If this link is summoned, you can target one card in your... Okay, all right, well, I'll trust you guys. Now, how do I use that deck? With a new deck, I felt very overwhelmed on how I even began to get better at Yu-Gi-Oh. My chat was recommending that I get a coach, but I wasn't a huge fan of that because I was trying to do this at...
To be perfectly honest with you, I am not a fan of coaching. Early on, I'm not. I get the point of coaching, but I think coaching is really good if you're somebody who's somewhat kind of experienced, but you want to challenge yourself even more. But once again, to really get into Yu-Gi-Oh, you need to be at a headspace of you looking to the game and being open to making mistakes and going through trial and error. If you play the same deck like 30 times or 20 times, which I know is already asking a lot, you're just gonna get conditioned and used to certain things. For me, I was blessed and happy that I played against like AI bots a lot during my time playing in Yu-Gi-Oh, which meant that I was used to certain strategies, or I was used to certain play styles, and I really got conditioned how to learn how to play my deck after a certain period of time.
As someone who is brand new to the game, trying to learn Yu-Gi-Oh for the very first time. There's a novel idea, just find someone to teach you. Dude, I'm doing this for a video, okay? So imagine I'm here like, hey, I'll listen, now I got a teacher, so the whole video is gone. Basically, from what I'm understanding, is in League of Legends, at least.
Also, most Yu-Gi-Oh players do not have coaches or trainers. They don't. Like, 99% of players who play Yu-Gi-Oh do not go into this game with a coach or for a trainer. They know somebody who can provide feedback, but for the most part, to really get into this game, trial and error.
At least if you want to learn the game as fast as possible, you pick one champion and you learn the game from that champion.
Yep.
In Yu-Gi-Oh, it is easier to play the game through one deck and then learn the game from that deck.
Exactly.
The following day, one of my viewers messaged me on Discord with a meta deck of the cards that I just bought to hopefully let me play the game at a higher level, and most importantly, let me understand how to play Yu-Gi-Oh a little
All right,
bit more.
awesome.
If I'm going to be completely honest, compared to a lot of other card games, I felt like I didn't even scratch the surface on Yu-Gi-Oh. There was so much to read, so many things to understand, and because the game just plays so much differently than every other card game, I was feeling so overwhelmed.
Exactly. You will 100% feel overwhelmed playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And there's nothing you can do about it except persevering till the end. That is Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the worst game for today's current cultural climate. And when I say that, I mean the current game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is all about time commitment and you investing and you being open to making mistakes and constantly losing and making errors, and you investing maybe months of your time just to understand the very basics and fundamentals of Yu-Gi-Oh! In today's day and age, where we have super mega easy mode and casual modes happening in video games, trust and also our mental health is right now pretty much at an all-time low. We need instant gratification. We need to do things or participate in things that'll make us feel good and feel happy, or to feel like what we're doing is fun. Yu-Gi-Oh! Will not be fun for you at all. It's only fun after you commit time to it. It's only fun after like you play against over 100 duels, to be perfectly honest with you. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the worst game to play in the modern time, considering mental health and people's demand for instant gratification. It's a terrible game for that.
Also, I learned that Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't really have a rotation. They just ban cards. So there's 20 plus years of cards available in this format. The record, by the way, it took us 40 minutes to craft the deck. I am now a master at this.
No, don't play casual match.
I know how to play this game now. I studied a lot. Let me go first. Let me show you the power. There's like no mulligan phase in this game, right? Like Magic has a mulligan phase, Runeterra has a mulligan phase. So does Hearthstone. There's no mulligan phase in this game. You just get your opening hand, right? Like I talked about it yesterday, or like the first stream of this game, is that the learning curve for this game is ridiculous. Like it's actually, it blows my mind that people like say to themselves in the year 2023, I'm gonna try out Yu-Gi-Oh. Like this game is so wild.
But there have been many cases that I've personally seen myself where they play Yu-Gi-Oh! Masterduels and then they got into the Yu-Gi-Oh! Game for real. So yes, and here, maybe just me personally speaking here. So I'm surrounded by a bunch of tech nerds in the Silicon Valley area, okay? So I surround myself with a bunch of tech nerds and this general like anime weeaboo geeks who spend a lot of time doing things that most people find incredibly boring. Whether that be like working machines or working on coding or building Lego blocks or dedicating a lot of time to watching their animes or binging their favorite TV shows. Generally people who can easily get into Yu-Gi-Oh! Are people who have the ability to go and dedicate X amount of time into something. If you have the time to dedicate into like watching like 3 or 4 hours of an anime, or dedicate like 5 hours just by doing your homework, or dedicating 4 hours into doing something like volleyball, or dedicating like 8 hours a day trying to learn how to be a good coder for your university or for a school project, or if you're the type of person who can invest like 6 hours into doing church stuff or church activities, you will probably get into Yu-Gi-Oh! And you will do better than most people. That's just the honest goodness truth. If you are a tech geek or a weeb or somebody who has a lot of time in their hands, then yeah, you'll get into Yu-Gi-Oh! So if you're somebody, which is why a lot of people who are not into Yu-Gi-Oh! Are the worst time to get into Yu-Gi-Oh! Is before the age of 34. Well, I know there are 34-year-old duelists out there. Most people who play Yu-Gi-Oh! Are 34 or below. Like if you go to any convention or any like competition or event, most people who play this game are in their mid to late 20s, even like potentially like 32, 31. Yeah. If you have a family, boy oh boy, just don't even bother playing this game really. Or if you have like a partner who needs a lot of their time to be with you, no, this game might not be for you.
Like what the fuck is happening? Even though I was still very confused, I am about to show you the greatest play I made so far. Shit, hold on, my extra deck is alive. It's time. We're in. Here we go.
Yay, one card combos. Let's go.
I'm not really sure what side matters. Oh yeah, we're in. I played one card. He's about to play 30. Hold on. I wish there was a feature that showed me how much time they have played and how much time I've played. I think I maybe played this game maybe 20 seconds. This guy's been playing the game for about 8 minutes, I think. And there's no way that, like, as a newer player, I understand what's happening. Like, there's no way. Like, I'm getting this guy's
trial and error.
Yu-Gi-Oh card in existence. Oh my god, I can do something. If you control a summon grade other than something on the graveyard, you can special summon this card and banish it when it leaves the field. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay. Right, and then trigger one Cyber's monster in your graveyard, special summon in defense position, but it negates effects. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of your turn except Cyber monsters. You can only use these effects once per turn. I guess I can special summon another monster from my graveyard, so that makes sense. Sure. So like these guys, sure, yeah. So you're gone.
All right, he's going to Splash Maze. Splash Maze is going to access code. Then you can go and potentially blow up the field.
Oh, I should have put it there, I think. I don't really know what the arrows mean, if I'm going to be honest. Active effect. Okay, sure. Get in there, champ. Yeah. Gain 500 life points.
All right, you're going to go to Heat Soul. Okay. You're not going to the access code line.
Well, this card is co-linked. And co-linked monsters gain effect. Also, your opponent can't target any of them with card effects. You can target one link 3 monster. This special summon it to your zone. This card, you cannot special summon monsters this turn.
If he plays his cards right, he can be able to board right up here. Actually, there is a potential line here, for you to go to update Jammer and win the game here. I know I'm saying stuff that most people don't understand, but what we're seeing here right now, with this player, is what makes Yu-Gi-Oh fun. When you're in this headspace of like, you stop thinking to yourself, oh my goodness, what the heck? I can't learn all this stuff. I only play this game for 20 seconds. There's so many things to memorize. It's so frustrating. Once you get out of that headspace and you turn into this headspace where he's planning out, he's thinking, he's strategizing, he's reading all his cards. Because before he was like, oh my goodness, so many cards and card text to read. How do I do this? And now, instead of doing that, he's like, I'm gonna read this card, I'm gonna read this card, I'm gonna read this card. Now he's getting the flow of it. And you have to get through this flow multiple times over again. While not everybody is capable of doing that because mental stress is a huge thing, and anxiety is also a really big thing, and people just get overwhelmed very, 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 very easily. If you can get into this certain framework or mind framework of this guy who stops complaining, who stopped being intimidated, who was like, oh my goodness, wow, how do I do this? How am I supposed to win? This is so hard. And is now focused and dedicated into what is actually happening in the game here and trying to recognize what his deck can do. This right here leads to people saying Yu-Gi-Oh is fun. Moments like this.
Alright, this card gains the attack and link rating. You can banish one link monster from your field and destroy one card your opponent also controls. Also, for the rest of the turn, you can't banish monsters with the same effect. Okay. I'm cooking.
There's access code talker.
What is happening? Sheesh. Yes. Give me another one of these bitches.
No, you want to get the access code. Yeah, there is. Now you can knock out 3 cards here. No, but no, you have to knock out the back row.
Kill one of these.
All right. Okay, let's go.
Do it again. It's my game. I wanted to play. Get your country ass out of here. Is he having fun or am I having fun?
But you're going to banish your own. Oh, no.
I took too hard. Okay, we learned a lot. We learned a lot. You know
Yes.
what? It was a loss in the record books, but I think I learned.
Have you tried
Yeah, that is right there. It's a loss in the record books, but you'll learn. That is Yu-Gi-Oh right there.
the story modes they teach you decks?
No, I don't need to. Wait, oh my god. What? What the I still don't dude, I am playing cards and I don't know. This is so I just don't get what you learn from these games, man. Like, I guess what I'm understanding is that like you could special summon all of your board in one turn and that's basically it. I want to go first. I don't want my opponent to play the game. All right, we're going first. So that means I get to play the game, right? All right, this is good.
Yeah, he's getting it. He's got one card combo here. Let's go. This is a freaking beast hand. I'll tell you
I
that.
want the gazelle. No.
Yeah, you're putting in surrenders because if you know what.
You're telling me people concede the game just literally based on the first two cards I play?
Yeah. Yes, they do. Experienced players know, or they have a certain expectations of what a certain deck is going to do. Newbies or complete casual players will be so intimidated by the fact that they're seeing all these monsters coming in that they're just gonna surrender and give up easily. Like, a big part of Yu-Gi-Oh is the mental aspect. Really is. All the technical card combo stuff, that applies when you're dealing with two players who are mentally in check and they're not gonna go and surrender easily, or they have a good grasp of what's gonna happen in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh here. But there are plenty of players who legitimately give up playing Yu-Gi-Oh because of sheer intimidation. And this guy's recognizing, he's understanding it. Since he was intimidated in the earlier games, he gave up early. But now he recognizes that he's not that intimidated anymore by other people's decks, and he can play against that with his own decks, with his own cards. So yes, this game intimidates and is scary to a lot of people, even the most experienced players out there. How you handle that is how you will enjoy the game of Yugioh.
Dude, you guys need help if you play this game. Holy shit. Should I try ranked? I'm a little scared for ranked. Rank is fine until silver. What happens after silver? Is the game just over? Before we even get to ranked Yu-Gi-Oh, I want to just discuss how I feel about the game so far, being about 3.5 hours in. In my opinion, the tutorial of this game just isn't very great. In the other card games I have played, the tutorial does a really good job of laying the foundation of how a game is actually played out without overwhelming the player right from the beginning. This allows the player to enjoy the game on top of learning new decks, play styles, and just brand new cards that they haven't seen before without feeling lost and not really knowing what to do. But the tutorial in Yu-Gi-Oh showed me the foundations of a game that was probably played 15 years ago. This does not help a new player learn Yu-Gi-Oh that well, because when you go into play casual mode, you are completely lost. The tutorial of Yu-Gi-Oh
You are
made it
correct.
seem like there's a lot more back and forth, and the game is a much more slower paced game compared to what it actually is, which is usually the game is over by turn 1. Which leads me to my very first ranked game. What is this? This is when the ranked game starts, and this is when the ranked game ends. Ask yourself, how much time do you think I'm actually playing the game? Your attention span not be the best fit for Yu-Gi-Oh? I disagree, dude. His games are fucking over on turn 1. In your main phase, you can take one Ricka monster from your deck, except Ricka Petal, and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. Also, you can't special summon for the rest of this turn, except plant monsters. During your opponent's end phase, those cards in your graveyard.
I will say this though, the rank system is so messed up. There are so many ways to people to grief in the game that if you're trying to get into Yu-Gi-Oh and you expect to play against people your certain level in rank, it's just not going to happen. And in order for the rank system to be fixed or to be better, really, you need to make it a lot more complex. It's weird, right? Because Yu-Gi-Oh is a really complex game as it is, and you have to make the game of Yu-Gi-Oh more complex in its own ranking system for it to better suit new or inexperienced players. I think there are not enough levels, there are not enough ranks in Yu-Gi-Oh. Too often we see players like Ron over here, who's matched up against people far ahead of him in the earlier ranks, which pushes people like him away from continuing to go play the game of Yu-Gi-Oh. One way I would try to fix that would be what I said previously before, was that I would like a more diverse, more technical ranking system to which people are legitimately matched up with with people of their skill level, whether that be through banning certain cards, through playing alternate formats. I think we have to find some way where we have to avoid new players playing against decks like Rika, which can legitimately be any deck in the game, which was a World Championship level deck recently. There has to be a more easier pathway for new players to get involved in the game without having to be stomped by the more experienced players.
If you control the monsters at all, you control planet monsters.
Don't wear yourself out, take a break with Hearthstone.
You act like taking a break with Hearthstone's the way to go, bro. Okay, how long is this gonna take? I'm gonna go get a drink while this guy's doing his turn. I'll come back and see what I missed. Give me a sec, chat. He's still going? Cactus Bouncer. What are hand? I don't even know what hand traps are. You guys care if I just go to the washroom or something while this is happening? Like, this is probably a good time, right? I got some time, right? How much time do you think I got for this turn, chat? A couple minutes? You still doing shit? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, this has happened. I've literally cooked food in the background.
All right.
If I'm gonna be playing a combo heavy deck, dude, I usually like cook up steak or cook some gourmet burgers in the side. Legitimately, like in my own living room.
At the same time, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Salaman Lake Monster. Wait, hold on. I don't really. Do I have a way to negate this? Activate. So let me get something straight. Because this guy went first, he was basically able to set up his board to counter what I was doing, and I just had to idly sit by while he did that. Dude,
yes.
Who plays this game? Like,
yes. Yes.
Sprint, but then your opponent says, yeah, but I get to start 50 meters ahead. All right, I think I lose. I don't know. Oh, wait, hold on. I should have done that. Like, can I even do anything? I guess not, right? I just end my turn. I guess I could do this and see what I draw. You messed up. I think I messed up by playing this game to begin with. Like, I probably could have played last turn better. Wouldn't it be better to learn to play with another YouTuber? Dude, every time one of you recommends me, hey, Raren, maybe you should play with another YouTuber. That would help you. You hear how delusional that sounds? Hey, dude, in order for you to play this game, you need to get a coach. That's with every card game, so you have to catch up where everyone's at. Dude, you are coping out of your mind if you think the learning curve in this game is not insane compared to other card games.
The barrier for entry for Yu-Gi-Oh is absolutely gosh darn terrible, and there really is no answer for it other than to provide potentially alternate formats. But even then, those alternate formats will have experienced players taking over and making the experience for newer players not so bueno. And there's nothing you can really do about it. There really isn't. Once again, it's a game of trial and error. And I wish that there were more content creators out there who put more of a concerted effort into trying to appeal to people outside the bubble of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, within the bubble of Yu-Gi-Oh!, we will make jokes about Joel, Maxi, Ash Blossom's Feet, Ray's Age in Sky Strikers, blah, blah, blah. Floodgates are bad. Degeneracy, Mystic Mine is no bueno, what card should be banned the boundless, how should Konami handle the reprint sets, all that stuff should be thrown out the window when trying to go interact with new players or trying to get them into the game of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Out of curiosity, how long did it take you to feel comfortable with Runeterra? Probably like in 2 games. Because Runeterra, thankfully, is super easy to get into because the cards don't fucking read like this. This one card is like 3 Runeterra cards. And
yeah.
This card also combos with this card and this card and this card and this card. Magic for me was easier to understand because at least there's the basis of the mana system and you can understand why how other cards work because there's not an apeshit amount of cards being played in one turn. Like,
this guy is exactly on point. What he brings up right now is stuff that even Ackman brought up in his video, and people, I don't get what's up with Yu-Gi-Oh players in the community here, where we immediately hand wave the issues or the problems that are relevant to new players. Because, like, I can say right now, multiple times throughout this video, this guy has said something inaccurate where I've played it wrong. Also, with someone like Ackman or even other newer players, I can be like with my arms crossed and tell them that they're playing Yu-Gi-Oh wrong. They said this information correctly. They said this information correctly. They're wrong about X and Y. I can do that. This guy was wrong multiple times throughout this video, but I'm not going to really like point out what they are because those are still issues that are relevant or pertain to him. All right, then issues that don't pertain to me, I'm not going to recognize as issues. But feelings and emotions can't be hand waved away. And this person feels overwhelmed. I just can't be like, you're wrong because you shouldn't be overwhelmed from this. Like, no, that's wrong. For as much as we want to hand wave issues from new players, we should be like, those are issues. What can we do to circumvent that? Instead of being like, oh man, you know what? You're inexperienced. You're a newbie. You're a Yugi boomer. You don't understand Yu-Gi-Oh. You're wrong. Kind of like how like MBT handled the Ackman situation there, really. Like, stuff like this is totally fine, totally reasonable, and is 100% understandable. A person who feels overwhelmed or uncomfortable or intimidated playing the game Yu-Gi-Oh, that is 100% perfectly normal, and it is also acceptable. I don't think that there is a space for players to feel like that how they're feeling feels acceptable within the Yu-Gi-Oh space, as there still is an issue of gatekeeping. Now, the Yu-Gi community, the bubble itself, has been less toxic in the past like decade. I can safely say that there's been a lot less gatekeeping. There has been more of an effort to bring in players outside the bubble, but it's still an issue that we hand wave the feelings and emotions of new players and their like their annoyances or their problems with the game of Yu-Gi-Oh by just being like, you know what, you don't understand the game. You're playing the game wrong. Joel or Max C's bad or blah blah blah.
Like, not having a resource system in this game is the weirdest conundrum for like any player who hasn't played it, because every other card game has a mana system or some kind of resource system. Hey Raren, how was your gameplay of Yu-Gi-Oh today? Oh, I don't know. I watched my opponent play for 10 minutes and I was sitting there waiting.
Yeah. Also, there will never be a mana system in Yu-Gi-Oh. It's never gonna happen.
So ridiculous, dude. I don't know how I'm gonna play this for 6 more hours, if I'm gonna be honest.
And once again, this shouldn't be happening at all. There is no reason why a newbie is matched up against a full power Rika player. This shouldn't be happening. And here's the irony though. While this guy is like day 2 and is running the game, this person he's playing is probably a month in into learning to play Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not sure how to exactly fix this issue, how to avoid these problems, because once again, I know somebody in real life who knew Sword Soul within the span of like a full power Sword Soul deck within the span of a week, and understands tier limit matchups within a week. And they also understand the match matchup within just a week. There are some really, really bright players out there who can just understand and grasp concepts and can be thrown in the deep end. Not every player is like that. Majority of people trying to get to Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like this guy right here.
Like, what? I think that game went on for what, 13 minutes? I think I played the game for 20 seconds, maybe. Somewhere around there. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I want to play this game for 10 hours. The reality of the situation is after playing a game for 4 hours and 10 minutes, I'm not really having any fun. Unless I'm missing something that I don't think I am. Like I played a good, apparently you guys gave me a deck that was probably good. I tried the tutorial. I tried casual mode. I tried ranked. This game is not for me. I am missing something that is gonna make the game more approachable. I think people pulling you in 70 different directions. No, dude, see, the thing is like, it's not because chat's telling me that I'm doing something wrong or whatever. I just think the game is too fucking hard to just wrap my head around and actually enjoy the game. I play Hearthstone because I think it's the most fun card game, right? I don't think Hearthstone's the best card game in the world, but I personally enjoy it the most, right? When I played Hearthstone 10 years ago, when I played the game for 20 minutes, I was like, I'm gonna like this game quite a bit. Yu-Gi-Oh! Does not give me the same vibe. Play the game for 4 hours and 15 minutes at this point. And again, like I said, I played it previously last year. I gave it a try. I just don't have that sense of enjoyment, right? There's too much going on. It's not fun to play. It's gonna take me another 6 years to figure out what every deck does. Also, apparently going first is just fucking broken. If going first is so strong, that means half the time you're not even playing the game. In Hearthstone, if I'm playing a game, even if my opponent has a slight advantage going first, at least I get to play the game. At least I get to do something that my deck does. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how anybody plays this. If I need to get a fucking coach to understand Yu-Gi-Oh! Just to enjoy the game, not even to be good at it, I don't think this game's worth playing 10 hours for. So if you guys play Yu-Gi-Oh! And you like the game, Awesome. I'm so happy for you. Keep on playing Yu-Gi-Oh. Honestly, the only part I really enjoyed was getting my Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Yes. Yes. He is really on point in there. He really is. And here's the irony, though. There will be a lot of people out there who will look at this and be like, "Lol, he likes Blue Eyes White Dragon as a pet." Of course, casual, or Yugi Boomer. LOL. This guy doesn't understand Yu-Gi-Oh. Well, thing is, to truly understand Yu-Gi-Oh, you need to play this game for a lot of time. You got to commit a lot of your time into the game. And I keep saying that over and over again. Commit time, commit time, commit time. Because you 100% will not enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh if you are looking into the game to pick it up and just play, then like walk away. You have to dedicate time out of your own life to understand and play this game here. And you could tell like, well, is it a bad game design? Yeah, you can kind of say that. Yu-Gi-Oh really is at its fun after you play this game for months. You cannot play this game and instantly enjoy it though, unless you're part of the top 1% who are just like that. I know people who stopped playing the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, then played it again after like years and just absolutely hate it. Then Yu-Gi-Oh is the worst design game if it was fresh and new, which it is to some people, in the year 2023. It is a terrible game. In the time of people wanting instant gratification, in the time where everything else in gaming is trying its very best, even fighting video games and strategy games and story-based games are trying to their best to alleviate the pressure to make games as accessible as possible to new people. Yu-Gi-Oh does not do that at all. It doesn't. And we also have a community that pushes away people who are like, I like playing Yu-Gi-Oh because I like Blue Eyes White Dragon. I think it is the coolest. Or I had I think 14 or 12 years. I had a 14-year-old girl student who was like, I want to play Yu-Gi-Oh because I want to play Dark Magician because Dark Magician is so super cool. It's like, we need to communicate with those people a lot better. I think we as a community need to do better in trying to be like the agents of communication for trying to make new players get involved and be inside the Yu-Gi-Oh bubble. For as much as we want to complain about floodgates, for as much as we want to talk about the ban list, for as much as we want to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh memes, for as much as we want to go and like make fun of Gage or watch MBT videos or laugh at like, OMG, silver players on rank are absolutely terrible. LOL. OMG, floodgates are so bad. Eradicator epidemic virus is so bad. Mystic Mine, OMG, LOL, that is so terrible. Maxi is ruining the game and all the other stuff. For as much as we want to make fun of those things are just completely irrelevant to new players trying to get to Yu-Gi-Oh! And we need to put more effort and do better in trying to get those players into the game instead of pushing them away or just being like, huh, you don't get it. Because I understand this. I was this guy at one point, and I had to go through a lot. I had to dedicate so much time. I had to go through so many losses and L's to finally understand and truly love Yu-Gi-Oh! I love Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now, but it took me moments like this guy basically being at a point of like, I don't want to continue playing, I'm not having fun. That's the worst part of Yu-Gi-Oh, right? The worst part about Yu-Gi-Oh is that it is a game that is hard to have fun. But once you do figure out and find the fun in Yu-Gi-Oh, which takes potentially months to figure out, then you will truly love this game and you can be part of a community that really is awesome and is incredibly sweet. So yes, that is my video there. Let me just read through the comments here because I think I found one comment here that was very that stood out to me most. And it's like, based on the comments I'm reading, wanted to add some above all else, I want to play a game to have fun, not mid/max it. I didn't have fun with Yu-Gi-Oh in almost 5 hours. I'm not playing the game. I am not saying the game is bad. I just didn't enjoy it at all myself. I think it's completely fair to say that I didn't play the game the correct way. No, 100%. He did not play the game the correct way. He did not play his strategies optimally. But the point of Yu-Gi-Oh for a lot of new players is that it shouldn't matter whether or not you're playing the game to its max potential. It shouldn't matter if you're playing optimally. Optimally, yes or not, though, when you're starting off the game. The point is to go have fun, and this game is really, really hard in trying to make a player have fun in the game if you're not attempting to min-max at all early game here. And I guess that's one of the issues, right? It feels like a race. And maybe in life, it's like a kind of like how it's a race to go get as much money as you can before a certain age. In Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like a race to get all your resources out and to, like expand upon the potential of your deck as early and as fast as possible to really enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh. When that really isn't the case for everybody. Not everybody wants to go make a lot of money by a certain age, or really care all that much about being a millionaire. Same way about Yu-Gi-Oh. We're not every player out there who wants to get into Yu-Gi-Oh cares about playing, the most efficient way possible, or playing with a good deck like Kashtira or Tearlaments. Like you don't have to play heroes, or you don't have to play Math Mech, or you don't have to play Rika to enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh. You don't have to. A game is only as fun as your perspective and expectations out of it. And if it doesn't match your expectations, then you're definitely not going to enjoy the game of Yu-Gi-Oh. So please, oh please, if you do try to play Yu-Gi-Oh, be prepared. Be ready to take a whole lot of L's. Be prepared to lose a lot. But if you persevere and you keep pushing forward, trust me, you will enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh. It's hard to understand and to comprehend that, but once you get to a certain point in the game, the basic information or stuff that seems crazy for other people outside the bubble will actually be seen as fun once you get inside of it. So that's the end of my video. Feel free to hit like, subscribe if you want. You don't have to do so. Really cool if you did. And so until next time, see you later.